All right. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for attending our resource fair 2021 fall. I can't believe it. It's going by so fast. Um, we really wanted to come up with, and share with our families what those services and resources that are available to support them, especially during these challenging times. And that was really the big reason why we thought this resource fair was so important. And it is being recorded so that way families and individuals can access this at multiple times. My name is Carrie Whittel, and I am a clinical support specialist with FAU CARD, and I will be moderating as we go along. If anybody has a question, please put it in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer that question at the end of the presentation. So, and to access that, you should just query over the chat, and then it should open up, and then you can just type it right in there. So again, welcome. I want to just go over a little bit about what CARD does. We are a free resource. We are funded through the Florida Department of Education, and we connect families with resources and information within the community. There is no charge for what we do. We connect families from birth through adulthood, so there's really no age and no disparity. We provide that expert counseling and training to people across all race, ethnicity, gender groups, that anybody that has autism. We connect them with the families. We support employees, businesses, schools, community members, faith-based organizations. We really support anybody that is willing and needs our support. We're there for you. Um, our goal is really to optimize the potential of individuals and all people of all races, and especially for those that have autism and the people that are supporting them. So we are located throughout, well, CARD is one of 7 locations throughout the state of Florida, and FAU CARD particularly services 5 counties. We service Palm Beach County, Martin County, Port St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Indian River County. And we have 3 different offices in this area. One is in the lower part, southern part of Palm Beach County in Boca Raton. We have one in the northern part of Palm Beach County in Jupiter. And then we also have another office in Port St. Lucie. So we're able to really try and reach our families and our community members with our diverse representation. So what I'd like to do is, again, just remind people, if you have a question, please just type it in the chat. We're happy to answer at the end of the presentation. And our first presenter is Robin Jones, and she will be, she's a clinical support outreach specialist, and she will be discussing the underrepresentation of Black and autism services and supports.
Hello. Hi, like Carrie said, my name is Robin Jones, and I'm leading an initiative for the underrepresentation of Blacks with autism throughout Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. Next slide. Thank you. So the goals of my initiative specifically are to raise awareness of the underrepresentations in Blacks, increase the early identification and access to services for Black children with ASD, and also increase the numbers of Black individuals registered with CARD, which in general will also increase the current numbers of Black who are served through FAU CARD. Next slide. So the prevalence of ASD, you can click through all of these, Carrie, so that it opens all of them. So the prevalence of ASD is current estimates indicate that 1 in 54 children by the age of 8 will be diagnosed with autism. And there's a 4-to-1 ratio where more boys than girls will be diagnosed or are diagnosed. And then there are no ethnic, racial, or cultural boundaries. However, the under-identification does differ across racial groups, and there are no social economic boundaries. One of the activities I usually have do to kind of show where the underrepresentation in Blacks is where I have my audience do a Google search, and they Google search boys and autism and then look at the Google images, or girls and autism and look at the Google images, or anything, any infants or toddlers and autism and then look at the images. And the representation you will see from your own search shows that Blacks just aren't represented the way they should be in autism. And here data shows that there are no ethnic, racial, or cultural boundaries, but we can clearly see that the amount of people being diagnosed with autism is increasing, but not for everyone at the rate that it needs to be. Next slide. As I said before, Black children with autism are under-identified, delayed identified, and misidentified. Next slide. The under-identification. Black children being diagnosed with autism continues to be lower than that among white children. Black children also are more likely to be diagnosed with more severe forms of autism, suggesting an underdiagnosis of those milder forms. That's saying that we understand the typical characteristics of autism is easily to identify in a Black child, but for those that may mask like girls or not necessarily be as more severe or profound, they get under-identified. And then Black and white parents raise these concerns to their healthcare providers at similar ages, yet the Black families are still under-identified. Next slide, please. Black children with autism are diagnosed on an average of more than 3 years after the parents have expressed these concerns about their development. And Black families with younger children, less education, tend to be identified in schools by school resources. So by that age, they've missed early identification, they've missed early interventions, and now it's burdened the school with now trying to identify where they've missed certain expectations. Next slide. Black children are almost 3 times more likely to be misdiagnosed than white children as well. Black children meeting the same diagnostic criteria are less likely than white children to have a prior ASD diagnosis, but more likely to have a co-occurring ASD and intellectual disability diagnosis. Black children also are more than 2 times more likely to receive a misdiagnosis of a conduct disorder and more than 5 times likely to receive a misdiagnosis of an adjustment disorder. While most diagnoses happen after the age of 4, research has shown that autism can be diagnosed by 18 months and be reliable, valid, and stable. So early diagnosis and intervention have lifetime consequences for children with autism spectrum disorder. What I'm doing also to spread this initiative is I have a flyer here that if you put your information in the chat and would like the flyer, I come out and I do this presentation for any organization that needs to hear this. We're doing it in pediatrician offices. We're doing it with the school districts. We're doing it at supporting agencies just to get the underrepresentation awareness out there, and then just autism in general, get the awareness of autism characteristics, what it looks like, how to identify it, just to develop just a basic eye so that you understand what autism is in any communities. My target population has been the Black community in Palm Beach and in Palm Beach and in the Treasure Coast, but it's for anyone that needs to hear this message. I'm here to deliver it. I also have a parent group that meets the last Tuesday of every month, supporting parents raising Black children with autism. We meet actually tonight. So if you have any families that this would benefit from, we're up to almost like 24 parents now. They love to come. They love to interact with each other, and they become their own little family. So yeah, so if you would like any of these flyers, please put your information requested in the chat, and we will definitely get it out to you with your email address.
Great, thank you so much, Robin.
This is my contact information. If anyone needs to contact me directly, screenshot it, write it down, or just request it. And you know what? I'll put it in the chat. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Robin. Appreciate all the work you do. Next, we have Wanda Baldwin to talk about our early childhood intervention programs.
Hi, my name is Wanda Baldwin, and I am the early intervention specialist for FAU CARD, and I am involved with 2 really wonderful projects. The first one is Little Owls, and you see this slide in front of you. Little Owls is a free parent autism training for families of young children, 18 months to 6 years, who are newly diagnosed with autism, or if the family's still seeking a possible diagnosis of autism. Currently, the training is on Zoom. We meet twice a week for 1 hour for about 5 weeks. And we will cover such topics as understanding the diagnosis, understanding and preventing problem behaviors, keeping your child safe. We will talk about parent self-care. We will also go over social communication, what it means, how parents can support it, and we'll talk about resources, such as the resources that we're going to talk about today. If you are interested, and I do the training just about every month, a new training starts. So if you are interested, please contact me directly. You can contact me by email. My email is my last name, Baldwin, Baldwin, my first initial W, at fau.edu. But I will also put my phone number and email address in the chat. Next, the other wonderful project, oh, here's my contact information. There you go. The other wonderful project that I'm involved in is Building Better Behaviors. And Building Better Behaviors is a 7-session Zoom online training for parents of children 3 to 14 who are having issues with disruptive behaviors. And this is based on the Ruby model, which is an evidence-based model. We meet weekly, and the sessions are an hour and a half. Additionally, a parent has the option of signing up for one-on-one coaching sessions each week to support the training. We have a training starting next week, November 2nd, which is aimed at children 10 to 14. If you are interested, you can call or email me or Luann Berteau, who is a BCBA and the co-presenter. Again, I would recommend that you take a screenshot or take a picture of your phone of our contact information. We are genuinely interested in hearing from you and having the opportunity to see if our class is a good fit for you. So next. Okay.
Thank you so much, Wanda. And we have Alex May next, who's going to talk about our iRise 2 mentoring program.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Alexandria. I run FAU Card's iRise 2 mentoring program. I'm here along with our program assistant, Janet. And let me tell you a little bit about the program. So iRise 2 stands for Interests and Relationships Impacting Social Engagement and Employment. So from our name alone, you can derive two of our main goals in helping foster our youth or young people on the spectrum. We're looking to help them socially engage and also turn those sparks and interest into sustainable employment. And we want to help by doing that by allowing our youth to be paired with mentors, mentors that are from the community, from all walks and paths of life, that have the same genuine desire to give back and help others that are on the spectrum. Many of our mentors, I would say probably most, have little to no experience with youth on the spectrum. And so we work with each of our mentors and facilitate trainings, and we provide on-the-spot coaching and support in our group-based programs. So our next slide will show some of the different programs. So we have our one-on-one virtual community-based program. So that is probably the model of mentoring that most people think of when they think of mentoring. So this is where we are pairing youth with older adults, ages 21 all the way above 70. And they get together for 4 hours a month. The schedule is based on both parties' schedule, and they meet online and engage in different activities, whatever meets their interests. We have our group or site-based mentoring. So that is going to be our STEM and mindfulness program and our career readiness program, which I'll explain next. So I'll hold off now. We also do vocational mentoring. As I said, one of our goals is employment. So we are always looking to have our youth go into different job opportunities and shadow employees there, or just learn about what a day in the life at a particular job is. And of course, all of us are actually mentors. All of us engage in informal mentoring via our days. We can even say that by providing information about the resources that we provide, we are providing informal mentoring about how to help guide families and individuals. Next. So what are our specific program offerings? For now, our program has transitioned to being 100% virtual. That is going to remain the case through the end of 2021. For 2022, most likely groups are going to start off and remain virtual, and we will look at kind of incorporating more of a hybrid method throughout 2022. For our virtual community-based mentoring, we're going to leave that option up to both parties, so both mentors and proteges, to decide their level of comfortability and if they would like to begin meeting in person, because we know that that is also a valuable component for our youth. Our first program is our STEM and Mindfulness program. It's a 6-week curriculum. We meet Wednesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. We assemble all of the activities for each of the 6 weeks. We place them in a box and we mail them out to both the mentor and the protege. So each individual in that program is assigned a one-on-one mentor. We mail everything to the home. Our next program is going to just launch for the fall. So these programs operate in spring, summer, and fall. So our next program will be spring, and that is for youth ages 11 to 18. Our Career Readiness Bootcamp, very similar structure. We meet online via Zoom. We meet on Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. for 4 weeks. This program also runs in spring, summer, and fall. We just launched our fall program, so our next program opening will be in spring. Again, each individual is paired one-on-one with a mentor in that program, and we cover things such as resume development, interviewing, professional communication, dress code, and job search and job application. Next, and that is for ages 16 to 25. So just in general, what is the structure of those online programs, both the STEM and Career Readiness? So we meet together in a group setting via Zoom with both audio and video capabilities. We spend time together as a group just checking in, and then each match or each pair will go into a breakout room and work on either the activity through the STEM and Mindfulness program, or they will work on whatever topic we are covering in the Career Readiness program. Then we will meet kind of in the last few minutes just to review any progress, review what we're doing next week. Those groups are capped at 6 individuals. So it will be 6 individuals with 6 mentors. And again, the ages are there. And last but not least, in your spare time, I won't show it now, but we made a video for Thank Your Mentor Day back in January. As I know, sometimes it's hard to envision what our programs look like online. This has a snapshot of some of our virtual community-based matches, doing cooking together, and some of our other programs, just so that you can see what these programs look like in action, because sometimes I know it's hard to visualize. So if you all have any questions, we are always looking to recruit youth starting in spring. So I think the next slide is my contact information. There we go. So feel free, reach out to me. I'm Alexandria. I didn't put Janet's information on here, but Janet, hopefully, can you type it in the chat box for everyone as well? So you're welcome to reach out to myself or Janet, and we can facilitate getting you connected. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Alexandria. That was great. Thank you for all you do. And next we have Dr. Tarika Azume.
Hello, everyone. Okay, thank you. My name is Dr. Tarika Exume, and I am the clinical specialist examining experiences and understanding the early identification of autism in Black children. A disparity exists in a number of Black children identified with ASD in their early years of childhood. There is an underrepresentation of Black children in programs designed to serve them. Among children diagnosed with autism, the clinical presentation is more severe than that of white children, suggesting that Black children with less impairing symptoms are missed altogether. A grant was awarded to FAU to conduct research relating to the factors behind the later and less accurate identification of Black children with autism. Next slide. Thank you. So FAU CARD is currently conducting surveys, focus groups, and interviews with Black parents, ESC, and early intervention directors and staff, psychologists, healthcare providers, and faith-based representatives for examining experiences in early identification of autism in Black children. The information learned throughout the study will assist FAU CARD staff in supporting parents, obtaining accurate and timely identification, and developing parent, educator, and healthcare provider training to facilitate the identification process. The autism study is entirely virtual and will continue until October 31st. Next slide, please. So if you're looking to participate right now, you could take a screenshot of the survey link that applies to you. I'll also put it in the chat for everyone. Once you click on the survey link, or if you enter the survey link in your internet server, it will take you directly to the survey, and it takes just 2 to 3 minutes to complete the survey about your experience throughout the autism identification process and receiving treatment services. Next slide, please. So once again, here's my contact information. If you would like to sign up for a focus group, a one-on-one interview, or complete a quick online survey, please get in touch with me by October 31st. My email is there. It's txume@fau.edu, or you could call me at any time. You can help make a difference in improving the identification of ASD for Black children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. We wanted to take some time to really thank our sponsors and our community partners, specifically Joe DiMaggio Children's Center, the Memorial Healthcare System, Butterfly Effects, Unicorn Foundation, and Ruth Rails Jewish Family Services. So we'd like to first have Butterfly Effects with Molly McGinnis.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. So my name is Molly McGinnis. I'm the Vice President of Clinical Services and Practice Development at Butterfly Effects. So we're an ABA provider that is based out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, providing services across 12 states. And my presentation this morning or afternoon, I guess, is a little bit different than everybody else's. I'm just going to briefly discuss kind of several ABA strategies to help our children through the difficult times they're currently facing, mainly focused on the pandemic and what challenges that's brought to everybody. So COVID has created new challenges for all of us. We all feel it every day, including our kiddos. So as adults, we're having trouble kind of managing and handling all the novel situations that are happening during the pandemic. This is even more of a challenge for our kids. And then go even a little bit further, our kids that are affected by autism spectrum disorders or other disabilities. So some schools and daycares are having frequent quarantines. This means changing schedules, changing routines. Kids are wearing face coverings and they're focused on washing their hands or using hand sanitizer throughout the day. And also many of our kiddos have less interactions with friends, families, and loved ones while they're practicing social distancing. So the next slide. So there's a lot of things that we have no control over right now. But what are the things that we can control and what are the things that we can help our kiddos with? So the next slide. What I focused on for today were just these like 5 target areas for families. So number 1 being keeping our kids safe and healthy, supporting their communication, creating routines in an environment where their routines are always changing, prompting coping skills, and then continued relationship building. So the first kind of target area that, as I mentioned, was teaching. Let's teach our kids how to be safe and healthy out in the environment. So 2 areas that we can do this is, you can see right here, washing their hands and wearing face coverings. So I'm going to review just very basic strategies on the next slide on how we can teach these skills. Now, in behavior analysis, we use strategies that were developed by Milton Berger in 2003. It's a 4-step teaching process. It's very, very simple. So if you think of teaching any skills this way, these 2 skills that I just mentioned, you're going to go through these 4-step process. So you're instructing, you're explaining, you're going through the process. Those of you who maybe are in ABA or in this world, you might have task analyses. You might have visuals that you're using for task analyses on how do I wash my hands? How do I put on my mask? How do I find a mask that's really cool and fun that I actually like more, that doesn't hurt my ears? Working with your kids through those. Modeling it. Come on, if we do it, our kids are more likely to do it. We're putting our mask on when we leave in the morning, our kids are more likely to do so as well. Rehearsing it throughout the day and then giving them feedback. What can you do differently or better? And also reinforcing them. So reinforcement for us is, if you reinforce, it's defined as you're increasing the probability it's going to happen in the future. Reinforcement looks different for all of us. My happy reinforcer is shoes. I can buy myself a pair of shoes after doing something that is a non-preferred. I'm more likely to do the non-preferred in the future, but find what works for your kid. It could be a high five. It could be silly dances. It could be their favorite YouTube clip. It could be a break from a task that they don't like. So if we follow these training steps and you use the tips and tricks here, visual supports, keep it simple, and reinforcement, we're going to be able to try to keep our kids safe and healthy through the end of this thing, hopefully this pandemic, with hand washing, wearing face coverings, but you can also use it for other skills, throughout their lifespan. So the next area that I wanted to really talk about is supporting communication. So again, it's fair to say that we're all frustrated during these challenging times. I don't know about the adults that I see on the screen right now, but I definitely have had some times where I'm like, I can't even communicate well how I'm feeling and how frustrated I am. And again, if we are feeling this way as adults, again, this is going to be impacting our kids and our kids on the autism spectrum, especially. So we know, we can, as adults, engage in tantrum behavior from time to time, but our children will engage in problem behaviors like tantrums and crying if they're unable to communicate their own emotions. So I can't get this out to you effectively. I'm going to go back to this thing that I know how to do, which may be crying, stamping my feet, and engaging in a tantrum behavior. I'm going to use that to communicate to you how I'm feeling. Therefore, as adults, we should be making sure that we're giving ample opportunities to our kids to communicate their frustrations. What are they worried about? How are they feeling that their routine keeps changing? And giving them different ways to communicate that to us. So I threw some pictures up here. These are some of the ways. It might be sign language. It might be vocal communication. It might be picture exchange or PECs, or it might be an AAC device such as an iPad or other technological device. It's important, I think, to remember that vocal communication can be tough for all of us, but especially kids on the spectrum when they're really frustrated. So maybe in those moments, you're not trying to push vocal communication. You might go to a simple form of communication so that they're not having to go into problem behaviors to communicate how they're feeling. So the next slide, these are just like some really quick kind of tips and tricks to remember when you're working on communication with your child. Reinforce what's appropriate. So when I say reinforce, again, I gave you guys some silly ideas, but let them know what they are doing and how they're communicating it is appropriate. If they're communicating to you appropriately, like, hey, this is too hard for me right now, I need to take a break. Give them that break if you're able to. Give them that time away from the task. Prompt them often. Try to prompt your kiddo before they start engaging in problem behaviors. If you know that a change in routine has just happened and they're likely to be frustrated, maybe throughout that, you're going to sprinkle in, all right, we're going to have a dance party every 10 minutes as we're doing this. We're going to stop and dance because I know that you really like that. It's going to decrease any problem behaviors, tantrums, withdrawal, aggressive behaviors. And it's going to help our kids that may have difficulties identifying their emotions right now. So moving quickly, I'm trying to go through this quickly. I just got a couple more slides for y'all, is creating routines. Again, as noted earlier, we're living in this world right now with quarantines, changes in plans, I've had friends change plans with me because, they've been exposed and they're going to stay home for the weekend and they can't come over for dinner. We're all experiencing this. So see what you guys can keep consistent, even with all of these changes that are happening out there. So it could be morning, it could be mealtime or bedtime routine. So their expectations in those times are remaining the same. As we know, many children affected by autism have a difficult time when there are these frequent changes. So keeping what you can consistent can be very helpful. Offer choices. Could be as simple. You want to wear the blue shirt today or the red shirt? Which one do you want today? Which chair do you want to sit in for breakfast today? And then visual supports like this one that you see here on the slide can also be helpful. And then don't forget, I think this last bullet point, I think it gets forgotten a lot. Teach your child how to play by themselves. Parents and caregivers also need some time to decompress, especially during these challenging times. It's helpful when your child knows how to play for a period of time independently without you needing to prompt them through, and they can remain safe and healthy, or with their siblings. So this is an important area that I think we gloss over because we're like, there's all these other really important things. This is important as well. So just something to think about. The second to last area is prompting coping skills. There's a lot of different coping skills that you can prompt. So listening to music with headphones. When I was a kid, we called it a lovey. So sitting in your favorite chair with your loveys, or like your favorite stuffed animal, your blanket that you love, deep breathing, exercises, swinging. So build this into their routine. Again, give them access to a coping skill before they really need it, before they're engaging in really problem behavior. Use visuals, apps, videos, give choices, and then don't forget those 4-step teaching process that we talked earlier, use them to prompt coping skills. Those are a great way to teach coping skills. So apps might be things like, I used my Peloton last night and did a 10-minute meditation. It's a great way to do it. There's meditation apps that you can use for kids as well. So good leisure skills. I just saw a question. Sorry, I was going to jump in on that real fast. There's lots of good leisure skills that you can be using with kiddos. And it could be things as simple as a puzzle. It could be reading a book without destroying it. It could be how can I sit in with my headphones on independently and choose my own songs. So depending on the age of your child, there's lots of different things that you can teach and reinforce. I'm happy to talk to anybody after about some more ideas for that. The last thing that I had is continued relationship building. How are we staying connected with others when we're trying to practice social distancing? This is really hard for all of us. I put a video with grandma and grandpa FaceTiming or Zooming with grandchild, but here are some things that you can just weave in to keep everybody connected, because it's really hard to tell your child, your young child, why they can't see grandma and grandpa right now. It's a really hard thing to explain. So giving them ways that they can create valuable time with others. I did a pizza party with my family that my mom sent all of us gift cards, and we all had pizza over Zoom during COVID. There's fun things that you can do. You can do virtual play dates, virtual video game playing. You can do religious services now via Zoom, as well as volunteer activities. So those are the things I wanted to focus on today as we're all trying to get through this pandemic safely and healthy. The last slide is my contact information. I am happy to talk with any of you, and thanks for having me here today, FAU. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Molly, and thank you so much for all your support. Appreciate it. And next we have Ruth and Norman Rails, Jewish Family Services, and we have Zippy Rosen presenting.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, so Ruth and Norman Rails has been in South Palm Beach County for over 40 years, offering a plethora of services. About 6 years ago, they realized the need to have someone specifically working with special needs families, and that's where I came in. And it's been a pleasure working with many with FAU Card, plus many of the other organizations that are here as well. Okay. So, like I said, we recognize the emotional and financial challenges that families have, and we opened up as part of our outreach department the special needs component. So I'm the special needs outreach coordinator. I also work for the Jewish Federation of South Palm Beach County as the special needs community liaison, working with different agencies, you know, to really just help anyone in need. So we offer financial assistance, individual counseling, support groups, information and referral, and Jfs Connect, which is an adult special needs case management program. Next, please. Okay, so for financial assistance, we that is specifically for families in our catchment area, which is Boca del Rey, Highland Beach. And there's a little bit of a vetting process and some paperwork, but we can help families really with anything that they need, whether it be therapies, adaptive equipment, supportive shadows, swim lessons, you know, anything for safety, respite care, camps, including summer, winter, and spring, after school programs, emergency financial assistance, rent, utilities, etc. And really, you know, we've helped a family in getting a wheelchair accessible van. We helped, you know, with some money towards that. We helped a family who has a son with cerebral palsy. They were getting this something called an Eno walk, which is equipment to help him stand. And we helped, you know, with a little bit of that. We helped someone get glasses who needed. So really, it runs the gamut of what we're able to help with. So if there's ever a thought that you might need something, you know, feel free to reach out and see. We do have a counseling department at JFS, which has, you know, therapists, we have psychological testing, full battery of testing, and we have psychiatrists as well for children and adults. But if someone needs just a few brief sessions of individual counseling, I can do that at no cost to the individual or the family, and then assess after that. If they need more than that, then we would refer them over to our counseling department. Okay, next, please. Thank you. So we run support groups for parents and caregivers. We have them weekly. Right now they're on Zoom, and on Tuesday mornings from 10 to 11, and every other Wednesday evening at 6:30. And I don't know why I don't have the evening group on here, but we do we do have it every other Wednesday evening as well. And I co-facilitate those with JAFCO, with Linda Sachs from JAFCO. And we do weekly grandparent support groups as well. And these are all for parents and grandparents of children with developmental disabilities. If anyone has a question, you know, they can always call myself or Linda just to, you know, see if they're appropriate for the group. But it's really a great support system for the parents and the grandparents that join, and it's everyone becomes like a little family. It's really amazing. Information and referral. I get calls from people within my catchment, outside of my catchment, outside of Florida, people thinking of moving to Florida, but they kind of want to get, you know, an idea of what services they would get. I had someone call me yesterday. They live in New Jersey, and they have a daughter who there is getting a lot of services, and they wanted to know what they would get here in Florida. And I had to explain things work very differently down here. So, you know, you have to apply for things once you're a resident, and then, you know, so it kind of helps, you know, it kind of helps families to get an idea of what's going on here. But I have resource pages on anything from housing to jobs, you know, day programs, respite care, social activities. I also have an online resource guide through the Federation, which is called the Jewish Abilities Alliance of South Palm Beach County. So it's an online resource guide that, you know, if someone wants to look at initially, they could get a lot of information from that. Please. Okay, so one program that we have that is a fee-for-service program, the rest of our programs are all at no cost, is Jfs Connect. It's Adult Special Needs Case Management. This is adult clients with either, developmental, intellectual, physical disabilities, or mental illness. And our case manager is very well versed in resources within the community, and she helps to link them, the individual client and their families, with whatever resources they need, whether it be help with budgeting, shopping, doctor's appointments, if they need to move, if they need to find a job, she's hooked up with Rehab and stuff like that. So really anything and anything goes. And we have now about 9-10 clients that she's working with, and the clients are really doing amazing. So like I said, this is our fee-for-service program. We do have a subsidy that is available to those that qualify. Again, this is catchment base, which is Boca del Rey, Highland Beach. And that's all for that. And just one more slide. Okay, so Jewish Family Services, we had, and Federation, a few years back, we had Beit Izzy Shapiro, which is a organization in Israel, come and do and consult with us on a special needs initiative that we had in the community. And they recommended, one of the things they recommended was a one-stop shop for families. And we realized that JFS already has with the counseling department, because we offer a sliding fee scale, for our therapies, that maybe that's something we can do for families with special needs. And we're going to be offering therapies. We're going to be offering speech, OT, PT, ABA, and we will take some insurances, but we'll also do a sliding fee scale, which is something that I haven't really seen. We're also going to have a multi-sensory room, which is going to have all the latest equipment. We're in the middle of, doing the build out. It's going to be on campus, the center on Federation campus in Boca. And the multi-sensory room is going to have all the top equipment, and we're really very excited. And I'll be doing my groups there once we get back into in-person and workshops, and it'll really be a place really where families can come and get full services. And also another group I plan to start hopefully soonish is SIP shops. So then we'll really have everything for the whole family. And just as an aside, right, this is my contact information, and just JFS also offers food pantry to those living in Boca del Rey, Highland Beach. We have senior services, we have the counseling I mentioned, we have volunteering, all types of volunteering opportunities. So there's a lot that we offer. So if anyone ever needs anything, please feel free to reach out, and here's my contact information. And thank you, FAU Card, for having me. As always, it's a pleasure working together.
Oh, thank you so much, Zippy. So many great programs you have. Thank you, appreciate it.
In times like these, everything comes into perspective. Our focus has been shifted from what we thought was important to what truly matters most. As these challenging times make us more introspective, the things and people that we have taken for granted become unmistakable. We have been asked to move inside for the greater good. And as we do, we get a glimpse of the heroes who have been around us all along. These men and women are not wearing boots or capes, but instead gloves and masks. They're out there delivering food to those who can't leave their homes. They're connecting virtually with the vulnerable to provide insight, help, and community. They're offering a compassionate ear and direction for those who are searching for new jobs. They're restocking shelves and keeping seniors entertained. They're making sure bills are paid through programs and financial aid. Even though it feels like the world is spinning out of control, these people keep us moving in the right direction. They're putting themselves at risk to do what needs to be done, to give us the hope of a way forward. The truth is, the world has overlooked them for far too long. But we know that they aren't just essential, they are fundamental. To all of the courageous heroes fighting on the front line, know that you are seen, you are heard, and you are appreciated. We will do our best to protect you. We will stay inside and cheer you on from a distance. We will honor your efforts and support you. But perhaps the best thing we can say or do is to simply offer our gratitude. From the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you.
Thank you so much, Zippy. Appreciate that. Our next presenter is Sharon Alexander from the Unicorn Children's Foundation.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for inviting us today. It's been an interesting 18 months, to say the least, but Unicorn Children's Foundation is really focusing on cradle to career opportunities for individuals with developmental differences. In February, well, let's go to the next slide and I'll give you some background. So our mission is really, again, creating those cradle to career pathways for these individuals, but also helping their families navigate a very complex journey. We truly believe that everybody should have an opportunity to be accepted, included, and provided with meaningful opportunities in their own communities. Next slide. So we look at the cradle to career, or the developmental trajectory of any individual, and typically we follow a very similar path. There might be some ups and downs at different areas. Our kids with developmental differences are going to progress along the same trajectory, but they might need additional supports or services, or the families might need additional supports or services. So we really tried to map out in the community what the needs were at different developmental stages and what services were available out there to support families, so that we could figure out where we needed to fill gaps or to create collaborations. Next slide. Oh, and you're not going to be able to read this. So this is our cradle to career programs. We focus on 3 primary buckets. So we have our family navigation programs, and I'll get into a few of those programs in a little more detail. Our transition to adulthood programs, where we focus on lifelong learning, personal enrichment, independent living, daily living skills, transition training, and employment is another component of our transition to adulthood programs. We have a creative workforce solution summit, which I'll talk about. It's coming up in December. I'll talk about that shortly. And then looking at social and community factors that live to, the social determinants of health. Then we have our collective impact projects, such as really bringing the community to get together, bringing organizations together, and educating and making individuals aware, whether it's through educating children so that they are more compassionate with their classmates who may have a developmental difference. Our Special Needs Advisory Coalition, which is countywide, and we just started just before the pandemic, a Unicorn Junior Board, so that we're bringing individuals with various neurodiverse backgrounds together to help them develop leadership skills, but really hearing their voices to inform us on where we're going. Next slide. So in terms of our early intervention programs, we do have an open enrollment period every October and May. This is a 14-week parent coaching program using an evidence-based practice, the Early Start Denver model. It's really to empower parents with the tools and strategies to take everyday learning or everyday daily activities and turning them into learning opportunities so that their child can develop critical developmental skills. So again, that open enrollment period, it's typically about a $3,600 program. We've offset the cost of that with a scholarship for families with financial need who have a child under the age of 4 who has been diagnosed with autism or has a pending diagnosis. So they can visit our website. Again, we've got 5 more days left in this open enrollment period. Next slide. I mentioned to you our Special Needs Advisory Coalition. This was formed back in 2015. We meet monthly. I think we're up to about 650 individuals representing 160 organizations. We have parents, we have self-advocates. I think the pandemic made it a little easier for us to get together. We meet on the 3rd Tuesday of each month on Zoom. So there's no commuting from one meeting to the next. We just, commute across our kitchen to jump onto our next Zoom call. We do offer a weekly newsletter. So if you're an organization and you have any trainings or upcoming activities that are relevant to the special needs population, please feel free to send us over your flyers. We will include those in our weekly newsletter. We also have a Facebook group, which is currently at 679 followers. So you can certainly follow us, like, share, and make sure that you're putting your information out there for the community as well. Next slide. As part of the Special Needs Advisory Coalition and our community needs assessment that we conducted in 2015, we created a website in partnership with a variety of organizations, including 211. It's specialneedspbc.info. We will be doing a revamp of that over the next 8 to 12 weeks. This site was created 5 or 6 years ago. So in computer technology time, as we've all seen in this last year, this is ancient, but for families, if you can click on very specific age groups to identify what the needs might be for your child at that particular age, it will talk about typical developmental milestones, as well as when you should be concerned. And if you're concerned, what you should do next. And then by clicking the 211 button, we have a customized database of special needs providers located throughout Palm Beach County to quickly get you to the information that you need. We will be expanding this so that we will have a calendar of events for other organizations to submit so that the community can easily access upcoming and relevant trainings for them with a few clicks of a button. There is a featured blog page as well. We've had some information on COVID. We've had some self-advocates who've written some really interesting pieces. So I encourage all families to really bookmark that because it's going to take you across the lifespan and connect you easily and more efficiently to the resources that you need. Next slide. So 2020 was interesting for all of us. In February of 2020, we moved into a new location called the Unicorn Connection Center, which was going to be a one-stop shop where community members could come, connect, foster relationships, build community, and enhance their health and well-being by participating in various classes, activities, and events, focusing on social, educational, vocational training, with the launch of 2 social enterprises that were going to provide vocational training and employment opportunities. The social enterprises were the Uniquely Gifted Boutique, which is a retail store featuring items created by individuals with unique abilities, and our Special Perks Cafe. In both the retail and the barista side, participants are earning industry standard certifications. So February 2020, we opened with grand plans, and then March 2020, we left. So we had to quickly reimagine what this was going to look like in a virtual world. So our connection center we are still there. We will be opening next week to in-person programs with very strict COVID protocols and limited capacity. Our Uniquely Gifted Boutique, we launched an online global marketplace where we now have individuals from across the country who are submitting their handmade artwork or products that we then market and help them and assist them with the business elements of selling and shipping. Our Special Perks Cafe, we opened online barista training. We have had 5 individuals from across the country, 4 located more locally, who have gone through the program. They have obtained their industry standard certification. And on Monday, we have a mobile coffee cart that will be making its debut experience at Boca West Country Club for the Boca West Children's Foundation, first post-COVID golf tournament. And our baristas will be able to make coffee in real life, serving real people in real time. We are accepting partners for our uniquely gifted boutique, which hopefully now that we're moving back into office, we can actually open the brick and mortar store. And the cafe, we are undergoing construction to build that space out. We are hiring baristas who have developmental differences, as well as a cafe manager. So if you know of anybody, until the build out is done, we will be expanding our mobile coffee cart. So if you have events that you would be interested in having them there, please reach out. Next slide. So with this expansion, everything has a silver lining. So when we started, we were very localized in terms of the individuals we were serving. During COVID, we now have participation in over 20 states and in Canada. We have instructors teaching from England and France. We've provided close to 400 individuals with over 300, that's probably more now, over 330 instructional hours. So we were able to eliminate the barriers associated with geography and transportation. So as we move back into the in-person program, we are outfitting our Unicorn Connection Center to enable us to do hybrid programs so that we can continue to include individuals across the country because they bring really diverse experiences. And it's been exciting to watch the relationships that have been built through COVID, through our various programs. Next slide. So we do have a virtual class schedule. This is our fall schedule. These are offered all online on Zoom at a very nominal fee. We had a very generous donor who has contributed to a scholarship fund. So these fees, these are 6-week classes. So $40 for a 6-week class is very reasonable. These started last week, but you still have an opportunity to enroll if you're interested. And we will continue to do quarterly class schedule updates. So be sure to check back often. If you want to scan that QR code, it'll take you directly to the page that has our most current classes. Next slide. As I mentioned, we're welcoming everybody back on Monday. We have a variety of programs that will be offered. They will be kept small to ensure social distancing, and we'll fill them on a first come, first served basis. We've been really expanding our partnerships with the community. We have Sensibility, who's come on board to help us with the candles. We have Remarkable, who's come on to teach a variety of our courses. We did successfully complete a small in-person group over the summer. So we feel pretty confident, and we did that without COVID, any cases of COVID. So we feel really confident about our ability to offer a safe space, but bring people back together to start connecting. Next slide. In December, we will host our 2nd annual Creative Workforce Solutions Summit. We had a great experience last year. Not everybody is going to fit into a traditional workforce model. So we've had some really innovative and creative people who have joined us. Coletti's Cookies, Sensibility. These are individuals, John's Crazy Socks. These are individuals who have a disability and have started their own companies. They are business owners, or their families have helped them start businesses. It will feature a variety of speakers talking about their own experience, business professionals talking about how to set up a business. I learned a lot personally last year from attending. It was a really neat experience. So this will be a virtual conference. We are offering CEUs. We are currently seeking attendees, speakers, entrepreneurs or family-owned businesses, as well as exhibitors. So that is also available on our website. Excuse me. Next slide. And here's my contact information. Again, we've been on a skeleton crew back in the office since August, but we're going to start moving back into full time. Because we moved in on, and we were only there for a month, even though we've been there almost 2 years now, we are still doing a little bit of housekeeping. So if you would like a tour of the center, we're happy to have you, but it is by appointment only. And we're just treating everybody as if they're unvaccinated. So masks are required while you are in our facility. The facility is located in downtown Boca near fixed bus routes. So transportation should not be a barrier. It's at 99. I didn't even put the address here because we don't use physical addresses anymore. It's all Zoom. But it's 99 Southeast Meisner Boulevard, Suite 120. We're right off of south of Palmetto Park Road and east of US 1 in that downtown Boca area. So we look forward to welcoming you and getting the center open. We are taking referrals. Again, if you know anybody who's interested in becoming a barista, we're providing the training. If you know of any cafe managers out there, we're looking to hire. And we're really thrilled to have a partnership with not only FAU CARD and 211 and JFS, but a variety of the groups here. So please join our Special Needs Advisory Coalition so that we can create a much more comprehensive system of care for all of our families. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Sharon. Appreciate that and all the information and all you do at Unicorn. Okay, our next presenter from Joe DiMaggio Children's Center Memorial Healthcare Systems is Brielle Schildkraut. And Brielle?
Hi, my name is Brielle Schildkraut, and I am a pediatric occupational therapist here at the Joe DiMaggio Children's Health Specialty Center in Wellington. We are the newest outpatient center for the Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital. Next. So our facility allows patients and families to see a variety of specialized physicians all at one location, as well as be able to receive different therapy services. So our pediatric rehabilitation program provides therapy for children whose impairments are often a result of either illness, injury, or congenital deficits. So some examples include physical disabilities, neurological conditions, and developmental disabilities. So our rehab department is made up of occupational therapy, speech therapy, feeding therapy, and physical therapy. Our rehabilitation team uses age and developmentally appropriate activities to help improve the child's performance of their mobility, their communication, cognition, social, and self-care skills. Next. So in addition to our rehabilitation services, our facility provides specialty rehab services. So these specialty rehab services include our U18, which is our sports rehabilitation team, our Cleft and Craniofacial team, and our new early developmental clinic. I will go into more detail about these specialty services offered later on in the presentation. But now I'm going to explain a little bit more detail of the standard therapy that we offer here. Next slide. So the first therapy I'm going to talk about is occupational therapy. So occupational therapy focuses on teaching children the skills they need to be successful and independent in all areas of their life, including activities at home, activities in school, as well as when they're in the community. So to gain a better understanding of our role of occupational therapy, some examples and diagnoses of problem areas that we treat, I'm going to explain some of those. So one of the first areas is global developmental delay. So this is when a child has delays with meeting their developmental milestones. We also work with children that have fine motor delay. So this often affects a child's ability to perform their school tasks, such as writing or cutting. A child with fine motor delay often has trouble with opening and closing their clothing fasteners, like their buttons or their zippers, or even difficulty tying their shoelaces. So we also work with children with sensory processing deficits, which can have a huge impact on how these children interact with their environment. So sensory areas that are addressed are tactile, auditory, vestibular, proprioception, gustatory, olfactory, and visual. I'll go into more detail later in the presentation of each of these sensory areas. Additionally, we also help children with attention deficits to help increase their concentration and their ability to follow multi-step directions. And finally, we work on increasing a child's emotion regulation. So this means increasing their tolerance of participating in a challenging or a non-preferred task and teaching them better coping skills to use instead of engaging in tantrums or behavioral outbursts. Next slide. Now I'm going to talk about speech therapy and some of the conditions that they often work with. So first is receptive and expressive language delay. So receptive language is a child's ability to understand spoken language. So children with receptive language delay often have difficulty following spoken directions. Expressive language is their ability to express their wants and their needs. So another condition is pragmatic language delay, which is more simply put as social skills. So our speech therapists help children work on conversation skills so that they're able to successfully interact with their peers as well as other people. Then there are articulation and phonological disorders. So articulation is the ability to understand exactly what a child is saying. So children with articulation disorders have difficulty making specific types of sounds. Our speech and language pathologists also address auditory processing delays. So that is when a child is their ability to process a verbal command. And then auditory discrimination, which is their ability to distinguish different types of sounds. And then finally, they work on cognitive and memory deficits. Next slide. So next I'm going to discuss feeding therapy. So feeding challenges are typically sensory-based, behavioral-based, skill-based, or a combination of all of those. So a child whose deficits are skill-based usually have delayed oral motor skills, which is their ability to chew or move food inside of their mouth. Then there's feeding aversion, which is described as selective or picky eating, or even problem feeding. So these children cannot tolerate different textures of foods or even smells, which will often result in their refusal to eat certain foods. And then finally, they work with children that have swallowing disorders due to a complex medical history. Next slide. The last therapy I'm going to discuss is physical therapy. So for physical therapy, we have two departments here, the Pediatric Developmental Department and the U18 department. So the Pediatric Developmental Department works with children who have low muscle tone, infants with torticollis, gait abnormalities, toe walking, and gross and motor delays in order to help the child increase their strength, their coordination, and balance so that they're able to sit, crawl, walk, jump, and run. Next slide. So what makes the Joe DiMaggio Children's Health Specialty Center unique? Since we have so many different types of therapy, we use a multidisciplinary approach to provide a very holistic and comprehensive type of treatment to our patients. Because many of our therapists see the same patients, we're able to talk to each other in order to ensure continuity of care. We also offer specialized services, including sensory integration, the Integrated Listening System program, augmentative and alternative communication, which is more commonly known as AAC. We have Cleft and Craniofacial team, and our sports rehabilitation team. Since many of our patients have sensory-based challenges, our facility has specialized equipment to provide sensory integration therapy. As I mentioned earlier when talking about occupational therapy, a child's sensory system greatly impacts their ability to participate in all of their daily activities. So when a child is overly sensitive or maybe even under-responsive to a certain type of stimuli or input, it can affect the child's behavior. So for instance, a child who is sensitive to what we call tactile input, they might get upset or agitated with tags on their clothing, or even the feeling of certain clothing textures on their skin. This tactile sensitivity can also affect their ability to participate in grooming and self-care skills because they might not like bath time. They often don't like to brush their hair or their teeth, and they might get really upset during haircuts. Additionally, children may seek out specific input, such as vestibular or proprioceptive input. So this is typically seen through a child spinning, toe walking, roughhousing, jumping and crashing off of furniture, and bumping into people or walls. So sensory integration helps provide specific sensory input to the child in order to help their body feel better so that they're able to participate in meaningful activities. So not only do the occupational therapists provide sensory input at our facility, but you'll find the physical therapists will use sensory strategies to help address toe walking, and the speech and language pathologists will use swings or other movement-based activities to help increase the attention and communication of some of their patients as well. So another intervention used at this facility by the occupational therapists is the integrative listening system. This is a multisensory therapeutic intervention that integrates the brain and the body function. So patients listen to music through headphones that also transmit sound and vibration. So this device helps children get ready for higher cognitive type functions like reading, helping with their attention and their emotion regulation. We also have our speech and language pathologists who have been trained to teach children how to use AAC devices to help them communicate. And they'll work with these children here on applying to get an AAC device, as well as teaching them and the families how to use those devices. We also have a Cleft and Craniofacial team with a monthly clinic here at Wellington. So this clinic is made up of speech and language pathologists who are specialty trained to provide care for cleft and craniofacial patients. So this team uses a multidisciplinary approach and offers the latest techniques and comprehensive treatments for children that have cleft lip, a cleft palate, or any other craniofacial abnormalities. It is also one of just 4 programs in Florida and the only program of its kind in Broward and Palm Beach County. So our sports rehabilitation team is made up of orthopedic surgeons and highly trained physical therapists to address sports-related or orthopedic injuries as well as prevention. So these therapists meet the unique needs of children and adolescents with sports or orthopedic injuries. So within our U18 sports rehab department, there are specialty programs that include dance medicine and performing arts and our concussion clinic. So these therapists specialize in treating dancers, gymnasts, acrobats, and our concussion clinic has a skilled team of specific concussion certified physicians, psychologists, and therapists. So finally, we have recently started our early developmental clinic, which I will now go into more detail on the next slide. So this is our brand new grant-funded early developmental clinic. We officially launched at the end of September. So this clinic happens every third Friday of the month, and it's a free screening for children ages 3 and under. So with this clinic, any parents that have any concerns about their child's development are able to call and schedule a screening, and they will come in and be seen by a licensed occupational therapist, physical therapist, and speech and language pathologist, who will then assess their developmental skills and determine whether the child would benefit from then having a more comprehensive evaluation. So when they come in, they'll, besides the screening, they'll also be provided with a lot of information. So we have a milestones guide broken up from 0 to 3, so that parents can kind of see, depending on their child's age range, what skills the child should be able to complete. And we broke it down with their gross motor skills, their fine motor skills, their visual motor skills, kind of sensory, like what they should be able to tolerate, their language skills, and their feeding skills. So in addition to our milestones guide that we have for parents, we also created a toy guide. So this is broken down, also similar to the milestones, by months. And so with each month, like broken down from like 0 to 3, we have a list of toys or activities that the child would benefit from to help promote their development. So we have that as well to provide to the families. Next slide. So thank you all for allowing me to speak about our wonder facility and all the different services that we now offer up here in Palm Beach County.
Oh, thank you so much, Brielle. We appreciate that and all you do.
Thank you.
You build trust by saying, I'm going to do the best I can to take care of your child.
When you're taking care of that child, you're taking care of the whole family, and that's what we do here at Jonah Maggio. To me, they're like angels. They saved my daughter's life.
Great. Thank you so much, Brielle. Appreciate it. Okay. Next, we have Gina Carello with the Early Learning Coalition, Palm Beach County.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Thanks for being here. Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Oh, wonderful. It's been so great so far. So much wonderful information. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the VPK Specialized Instructional Services Program. So it is a little specialized. It is for children who are VPK age, which means they would be 4 by the September 1st. The program is for children who are living here in Florida, who are 4, and they do have to have an IEP in place. The concept is that you would not be participating in a classroom environment for your child, or you're at a provider who doesn't offer VPK. You then have the ability to use the VPK funding for specialized instructional services, which is a big word for therapy. Basically, there are some Therapists that are automatically approved by the state of Florida, such as speech therapists, physical therapy, OT, PT, and psychologists, and I believe social workers are all approved providers based on the fact that they're licensed to offer these services. And then additionally, ABA therapy and additional therapies that a parent might want can apply to be approved providers, and there's a process for that. The parent signs up for VPK through our family portal. They submit their application just like they were going to submit an application for a VPK student to go to a classroom. They're issued a certificate in that portal, but then that's kind of the last thing they do in the portal. Once they have that part in play, we do some forms outside of the system. And I do have lists of participating providers who have gone through some of my other trainings about specialized instructional services and have expressed an interest in accepting clients. So then you're basically working with your therapist. I think you can go to the next slide if you get a chance. You're then basically working with your therapist and setting up your appointments. There is this year for VPK, the 21-22 school year, there's $2,592 available for a VPK student. So if you're not using VPK in a classroom setting, you can use that $2,592 for therapy appointments. And we just basically break it down depending on how much each therapy session costs. Then we subtract that from the VPK money and we contract and pay the provider directly. So you're, as a parent, signing off on a schedule saying, yes, you had that appointment. The provider submits the invoice to me at the end of the month and we pay them using the VPK money. It is handy for people who may have co-pays with certain areas that they may have used insurance for, but then have a copay that's coming out, or if there's additional therapies that are not covered, you could use the VPK money for that. Again, the child does have to be 4 by September 1st, so it would be the year before they're going into kindergarten. So you can delay a year for children with late birthdays. If you had a child whose birthday was between February and September, and you're not considering putting them into a pre-K program that fall because they're younger, you can delay it into the next year. The VPK specialized instructional services, like I said, goes through the family portal with having to prove the child's age and then proof of residence here in Florida. And that is able to be found from our website, Early Learning Coalition of Palm Beach County, elcpalmbeach.org. We have additional services on there, but I wanted to just sort of talk about VPK SIS. Please take a minute to browse our website. There's lots of other options, but the SIS is designed to help parents or allow parents to use VPK money for therapy services. If you could go to the next slide, please. Those are my approved providers. So approved licensed provider, speech, OT, PT, social workers, and psychologists. And then we do have lists of ABA therapy that has submitted their application, and we are getting an influx of school district teachers who have specialization in pre-K and special needs. They're also able to be approved SIS providers. So we do have some teachers that are offering one-on-one tutoring with children while they're in perhaps an ESC class at the district and not using VPK. They, rather than let that money go, which is what would happen if you didn't use it, they're able to then contract with the school district teacher and get the additional therapies that their child may need. The program does run in 2 phases, either a school year program that would go from August until June 30th, or the summer, which is from May 1st until 14 days before Labor Day, which is around August 20th or so. So the summer money is a little bit different, but I work with every parent that does sign up for this program. I work with them directly to make sure that we understand everything. It's a state funded program, so of course there's additional paperwork, but I'm here to help you do that. We try to do it as flexibly as possible, as easily as possible, because I know it's not the first thing on your list to do more paperwork. But I am here to help you with that process. I don't know what else I had. I don't think I had too many slides. There's the whole breakdown of the program. I did put that in there. Look at that. School year, August to June, summer, May to August. You are able to postpone if your child is a younger age, then you can postpone it into the next year. actually no law that says your child has to go to kindergarten. They would just need to be in school by 6. So you can actually delay your VPK for a year. And then, of course, the whole process starts just by going to our family portal and setting up your account. The family portal is also for subsidized funding if you are interested in or think you may qualify for aid to pay for childcare services while you're working or in school. The ELC family portal is where you would go to do that process as well. So please check out our website, elcpalmbeach.org. Lots of great stuff on there. Don't think I have anything else. Okay, nope. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and or give us a call at the ELC.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. And thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Next, we have Natalie Eno with Early Easter Seals, Early Steps, and Treasure Coast Early Steps program. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here, and thanks for the CARD team for the invitation. I've already learned so much, so it's really nice to learn all about the wonderful community partners we have, and I look forward to working with all of you. So I am the Family Resource Specialist for the Easter Seals Treasure Coast Early Steps program, and the state has identified that they want a parent on staff that has lived experience that's able to help families navigate the system of care. So that's what I do in the program. Next slide, please. So we do often get the question, what is early steps? And the way I like to describe it is everyone has to start somewhere. So really, our program is to support those families starting out, and it offers services and supports to families in growth and development of infants and toddlers from birth to 3 with disabilities or developmental delays. And Early Steps is part of the CMS system in accordance with the IDEA Part C. I know that's a lot of acronyms. And there are 15 Early Steps across the state, and we really coordinate with all the community agencies and other providers to make sure that the families are getting services that they need. Next. So part of this IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Part C, it is a federal entitlement program, and there's no income eligibility or criteria. And I often get asked, well, how are these services paid for? So just to kind of give you the process here, the first step would be to check through your personal insurance if you have insurance. Next step would be Medicaid. And then if there's no the insurance or Medicaid, then the Part C is the payer of last resort. So we want to make sure that no child is missed, and they will all get the services they need. Next. So these are the services we provide. It is a screening, the assessment and evaluation. Then we have service coordination throughout the whole program. Once the child is there, they're assigned someone to be in charge of their case. And then some of the therapies that, depending on what the child is eligible for, will be physical therapy, speech, OT, and we have specialized instructors that are called infant toddler development specialists. What's nice too is that in this early age, we do try to get the child in the natural environment. So we will get them at home or in the daycare. So wherever they are during the day is where we want these services to be. And then another perk of being an Early Steps family is that starting around age 2, we start transitioning. So if the child is deemed to need more services, because of being the state program, we have an agreement with the Part B. Think of it this way, Early Steps is Part C. So we're working on the development, helping your child to develop. And then once we move them over to Child Find or Fiddlers in some of the northern counties, then they're starting to look at how are we going to educate this child from 3 to age 22. Next. So as far as referrals, our referrals come from pediatricians, specialists, childcare providers, which really nice is that families can do self-referrals. So if they feel that maybe their child is delayed, or we do get a lot of calls after 2-year-old gatherings when they notice maybe their child is not speaking as much as other children are, and then they can come in and get an evaluation. So here are the numbers here, and I'd be more than happy to share them after if anyone needs them. Next. So here's our websites. This is the CMS website for early steps, and then our Easter Seals program here. Next. And I just want to encourage you for all your children, since I have a child, a young adult now, been on this road a long time, I always like to leave some encouragement. And one of my favorite quotes here is, "No one rises to low expectations." So make sure we're giving our children the best services that they can get to be the best they can. And I'm here to support you. And I stay close with lots of families, even when they're out of our program. So I feel free to any of the providers who can reach out to me if they have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Appreciate that, all you do for with early steps. I just want to remind people we are at 1:30 already, a little bit over, so we are going a little bit over, and I just appreciate everybody for hanging in there and for supporting this. Next, we have Jennifer Harris, a special needs advocate. 211.
Hello, everybody. I am with 211, special needs advocate. The advocate program started in about 2013 from an outcry of parents in the community saying they needed resources available to them. They didn't know where to start once they had a diagnosis, and that's how we came about. Next slide, please. But 211 in general, we answer 24/7, 365 days a year. We do information assessment and referral, crisis support. We answer the Suicide National Hotline. We have advocacy programs. We have our database. We do phone, text, and chat, and email. And we also have a phone app. Next slide. So these are the various ways you can reach 211. The easiest, if you have a 561 area code, is just dial 211. It'll take you right to our center. If you have a 954, you may reach Broward, but you can always be transferred to us. Text 898-211, chat. You can email us. And if it's out of area, we have the 866 number. Next slide. So our function is to listen to our callers, to empathize, crisis counseling, de-escalate when needed, and link to mobile response teams, and share information on services. We are not formal counselors, so we don't judge people. We help them discover their own solutions. And if needed, we do link them to counselors, therapists in their areas. Next slide. So suicide prevention, you can always call us for yourself, for a third party. And we do link to what's called mobile crisis, where somebody may come out to your house and work with you briefly to get you de-escalated. Next slide. These are some of our programs, because we not only deal with special needs, but we deal with the family in general. So our Sunshine program reaches out to about 500 seniors every day to give them a brief telephone call to check in, see how they're doing, because we do have a lot of transplants from New York, New Jersey who don't have family down here. So they really appreciate getting a friendly phone call. Next program. I'm sorry. Help Me Grow. These are for children 0 to 8 who may not have a diagnosis yet. They're concerned about their child's development, so they can call us and get a free screening over the phone. And once they get that screening, the specialists continue to follow up, do additional screenings if needed. And if there's concerns, they make sure they get to the appropriate resources in the community. Next slide. This is one of our newer services, My Florida Vet. It's run by 2 veterans. For veterans who may not be getting VA services, they can empathize with the callers. They know what it's like to be in the military and help them search for additional resources. Next slide. Our Elder Crisis Outreach works with elders 60 or over in the community, make sure that they're getting their needs met, whether it's food stamps, finding a food pantry, follow up with them, suicide evaluation. Next slide. This, of course, is me. So I work with families from birth to 22 in Palm Beach County. I do go out of the county and I do work with families over 22. So all these resources on here, if you call us, I can make sure I give you all their information. I talk to parents, they may not know about FAU card or Social Security. Work with them on reaching out to these agencies they need. And I follow up with them until they feel they have a handle on things. Sometimes it's a couple weeks, sometimes it's been up to a year. A lot of the times it's just me checking, saying, how are you doing this week? And them having a friendly voice to talk to. Next. This is our newest one, our 211 Caregiver Project. So it's for a person 18 or older, caregiving for another adult of any age. So they do support in crisis. They do a needs assessment, linkage to other services, and follow up as well. Next slide. So these are some of the seasonal services we offer. We just got done with back to school and summer meals. Coming up, we have winter meals and toys and Thanksgiving meals. So these agencies provide services to families who may not otherwise get a holiday meal or have toys for children. Hurricane preparedness. During tax time, we do Vita tax. So if you earn less than a certain income, you can get your taxes done for free. Next slide. So in review, we're free, confidential, and 24/7. We serve Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast. Locate those community resources, crisis intervention programs, and someone to listen to without being judged. Next slide. This is my contact information. If you ever lose my number, just dial 211, say you need special needs advocate, and they'll contact you. I mean, they'll refer you to me. They will ask a few demographic questions because we do get funding from many resources, and they like to know where the needs in the community are being met. And thank you so much, FAU and Carrie, for your time today.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And next we have Dr. Erin Lazat with the L Center for Autism.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's been such an interesting afternoon. I am the program director at Els for Autism Foundation, and our main campus, as you see here, is housed in Jupiter, Florida. However, we have foundations in the UK, South Africa, and Canada, in addition to the US. We have a variety of services, both in person and virtual, through virtual means, housed that come out of our Jupiter site in the US. You can see we have a 26-acre campus, and we have a lifespan of services from our collaborative autism diagnostic and intervention program, which we call CADDY, which we provide 2-day gold standard autism diagnostic evaluations that currently for the past 4 years have been free to families. So if you're interested, we're hoping to get our grant again to continue to offer this, but we provide 20 free 2-day evaluations with a licensed clinical psychologist and a speech language pathologist across the calendar year. We have speech and language intervention for individuals from as early as not even 14 months of age, all the way through, I think our oldest client is currently 50. So we do not have an end age on campus. We have mental health counseling services, a variety of counselors that provide both group, individual, virtual, and in-person services, as well as stress management videos that are provided, I guess, monthly online to help families and just have outreach on stress management tips when you're either a person with autism or raising someone with autism or working with somebody with autism. We also have a new program that was piloted really due to the impact of COVID-19 in our families called Sam Sib Stick Together. And we have a virtual sibling support group that is offered, as well as we have a collaboration with Autism Science Foundation, and now a webinar series of all the researchers that are studying siblings of individuals with autism, and a website that just went live that will be a repository for all the best practices and all the research available on siblings of individuals with autism and the different programs across the country that people can access for siblings. Our early intensive behavior intervention program is funded through everything from VPK, SIS to private insurance to the Gardner Scholarship, et cetera. And that runs, our children come anywhere from 20 to 30 hours a week. And it's implemented by registered behavior technicians that are supervised by board certified behavior analysts. And we have grant funding to push in speech and language as well as occupational therapy into this program. And we also have access to our families of this program who get parent training as part of it, and parent implemented intervention have access to a mental health counselor. Our Spring into Action, or See It Together program, is actually a parent implemented coaching program. It's a short-term program, and it's really nice because oftentimes when we have children on our waiting list for either diagnostic services and or waiting after a diagnosis to get into a more intensive program, we can continue to train the families on how to establish social communication and language skills in their children. And there's grant funding to offset the cost of this program, so it's at a nominal fee. Our Global Outreach Autism Learning Services, or our GOALS program, is actually our program that spreads across the world. And so we serve families, we've actually served families for over 17 countries since we opened, before we even opened our doors in July of 2015. And we have a transdisciplinary team approach where we train the trainer So we work with professionals and families that have their established programs across disciplines, and we help ensure that the evidence-based practices for those children's programs are in place and everybody is trained. We do this on campus as well as virtually, and so you can be right here in Jupiter, or you can be far away and still access our services. And I spoke to you about Sam Sib Stick Together. That is our sibling program that is under the umbrella of our mental health counseling services, and now has a website that has gone live this week. So we're very excited for that project. We, similar to FAU CARD, we offer the 11-session Ruby Autism Network Parent Training Program. We have certified professionals as well as internally trained professionals that do this either in group, individual sessions, telehealth, or in person. And we're currently doing a multi-site telehealth group-based Ruby study that has 4 sites across 3 countries. And we just published a paper on our clinical implementation of the Ruby Autism Parent Training Program through telehealth. So we're very excited about that. And we're really excited that FAU CARD has a behavior parent training program based on the Ruby parent training. We do a lot of cross referrals. So very excited. Hope you guys continue to do that. In addition, we have an entire library of free webinars and CEU webinars, both for behavior analysts and as well as anyone that is working with adults in employment, from an HR provider to vocational rehabilitation to a job coach. Online, we are a practicum, a student practicum site across disciplines, and so we train a lot of students on our site. So we do a lot. If we can go to the next slide. From the standpoint of recreation, our sports and Reach and Teach the Arts program span from tennis to, of course, our Game on Autism. We have studied and manualized curriculums for our Game on Autism tennis program, our Ernie Els Game on Autism golf program. We offer yoga, and we offer hybrid yoga, so you can be on campus or via Zoom at the same time. We have art, dance, music. Kickball is our newest and most popular sport that we have for across ages, which we range from 6 years of age on through, again, there's no end age. We have a beautiful theater and chorus program. We have a social connections club that meets for teens and adults as part of our rec program. We have a book club. They just finished Harry Potter. That's actually led by an adult with autism and our recreation service coordinator who has a background in recreation therapy. And we have a Spoken Wheel Society, which is also currently virtual, which is run by an adult man with autism, and it's for adults with autism that want a social outlet. Our mental health counselors help facilitate this program, and then the individuals in that program, they meet in the community on their own time and have created a nice social friendship. So depending on the session that we're in, we offer like you can see, a span of these recreation and sports and arts programs. We also have spring break camps and summer camps that run when the schools are closed, since we're a year-round program. Though we do have 2 public charter schools dedicated to autism housed on our campus. They're their own separate entities. Next slide. Our adult services are a suite of services we're very proud of. We have 2 actually micro businesses on campus. One is We Are Foodies, which has a food truck. It's under construction right now, but we have a food service business that serves food to our campus employees and as well as to businesses and organizations in the community. We have our SIA Possibilities, which is our adult day training program micro business, and our adults in our day training program create art using different materials from the sea and sell their products. We are not yet online, but we are housed in a local business. Lucky Shucks, if you're ever up in Jupiter and you go to the restaurant and you want to see the Sea of Possibilities, I guess items, they're really amazing. Or you can call in an order or come and schedule a time to see the items on campus. We do go to local fairs and different events. We had an event this weekend, and our guys were there working and did very well with selling their art. So if you ever need any gifts, Zia Possibilities is a great business to buy gifts from for any holiday. Our adult day training program is wonderful. We currently have 12 adults that get served 5 days a week. Where I'm excited that as of November, we're expanding to 18, and as of January, we're hoping to be fully approved for med waiver funding for ADT programming, so that we can, be accessible to more individuals. We have cooking and fitness programs for adults, our salsa program, self-advocacy programs, and we are a VR provider, so we provide supported employment and employment services. We also are an APD provider for supported employment for long-term supports once VR and the supported employment funding and services has been exhausted. And we have a work experience program that we're at local businesses and organizations that runs 10 weeks, and some of our work experience participants also are OJT, on the job training participants, so that they actually get paid to participate in their work experience program. And we're at organizations like the Club at Ibis, Golf Club, PGA National Resort and Spa, Jupiter Medical Center, Next Level, which is a technology and distribution company. And we're continuing to expand our employer partners. So we are in the midst, if we can go to the next slide, of building a 30,000 square foot adult services dedicated building that will also have a cafe with a drive-through that we're really excited about. Really state-of-the-art vocational labs, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. Our adult day training program and our work experience training programs will have space in this building, and hopefully it'll be a space that families can stay in when they're coming for intensive services, or students that are there learning will be able to be on campus. And so we are very close to our fundraising goal to be able to break ground. So if you ever want to learn more about our building, you can go to our website. We have a beautiful overview of the building, what it's going to look like, the inside of it. There'll be space for therapies in the building, and really unique events. But the drive-through, I think, is the key feature for me, and the really nice cafe for employment. And we hire people with autism all the time. So we are a lifespan center that ranges from diagnostics and early intervention all the way through to our recreation, sports, and adult services. And we support 2 charter schools, as I had mentioned, on campus. And we are a training site for students, and are really excited to be a part of the Palm Beach community, and very, very intrigued by all the services I have heard about today. We want to collaborate and help disseminate best practices. There's more than enough service to go around. So we appreciate FAU CARD and our relationship, and hope that if you haven't heard about us, you contact us to learn more. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Erin, and thanks for all the great things and great programs you have.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Okay, next we have Lisa Puglisi LaCroix presenting Love Serving Autism.
Thank you for inviting me today. I appreciate it. So yes, Love Serving Autism provides specialized therapeutic tennis instruction to children and adults with autism and developmental challenges through the sport of tennis. Next slide. Why is tennis a great sport for individuals with autism? I listed a few here. It's visual, it's repetitive, so it helps with motor planning skills. It increases both gross and fine motor skills. It's kinesthetic, it helps regulate the sensory system. It improves receptive and expressive language skills. It's a social activity, and the skills we teach in tennis can be carried over and generalized into the school, home, vocational training, and community environments. Next slide. And here, there's definitely a co-occurrence of autism with additional disorders. In tennis, we often see children with ADHD. 50 to 80% of children with autism do have ADHD. 25% of children with ASD may demonstrate seizures, and then 75% of children with ASD may have sensory processing disorders. And as far as autism severity levels in tennis, it's a wide range on the tennis court. We see children who need mild supports, so maybe we're just verbally prompting them, or moderate support. We may provide both verbal and physical prompts, and then profoundly, where they need more intensive support, we may have a volunteer support them one-on-one physically to follow instruction. Next slide. And some of the on-court modifications we provide for the program. I know we're in Florida, it's a bit hot, so we can't control the heat, but we do our best to control, the outdoor sounds, any type of, to keep it quiet as possible. We teach nonverbal communication techniques, meaning, we use a lot more gestures than we do verbal commands, so they can process the information faster. We do provide extra processing time. We provide communication opportunities, meaning, a child, instead of just hitting a ball, they may say go. So we try to incorporate some strategies on eliciting expressive language. We do like to provide verbal praise, immediate feedback for the small, steps they're taking in tennis to learn. Inclusion is super important, and we invite them to attend different tennis events in the community. And we also work with video modeling and social stories to help the child process visually what they're doing on the tennis court, and also to learn more about what to expect on the first day of tennis. Next slide. And we do have a pathway. So parents often reach out and say, I don't know if my child can participate. They've never played a sport before. We often say, come out and try it for the first time. And if they like it, then, they can continue. Obviously, they're learning the initial basic skills of hand-eye coordination, how to put the strokes together. And the tennis programs now are different color tennis balls. So we start with red dot, and then we progress to orange and green and yellow. So they're learning all the different skills during our 6-week sessions in the community. We have around 18 locations now in Florida. And during COVID, we did expand. Thanks to Zoom, we were able to do some coach training out in different states. So we've opened 4 additional programs in the US. So the program is growing, and I think parents really enjoy the opportunity for the recreation, for their child and adult. Next slide. These are some of the multidisciplinary therapy goals for speech therapists, occupational therapists, and physical therapists to participate in our tennis program. And, one of our goals in the next year is really to integrate these therapists on the tennis court so that they're working on the different skills that they work in the clinic, in the school setting, and the vocational training site. So I don't know if you can read all of that, but it's just different. Speech therapist obviously is working on language, and OT is fine motor, and the physical therapy is more the gross motor, running and jumping skills. Next slide. We use communication boards and visuals. So for instance, we have a banner at tennis now that hangs at the tennis court, and we do our best to direct a child or adult to use the banner to communicate, to request a racket, to say it's time for a break now. So visuals are super important, and they're definitely a part of our program. Next slide. Also AAC, so the children and adults may have devices they can bring to tennis, and we encourage this even at the schools, the after school programs. I know we had to shut down a lot of programs during COVID, but we're hoping to reopen them in the next couple months. So we encourage children and adults who use devices to bring them to tennis. Next slide. And then this is a picture of our young adults at the Delray Beach Open before COVID, and they're volunteering at the hospitality tent, working on their social skills. So it's important that the tennis participants are able to go into the community and practice what they learn. And they really enjoy meeting the professional players and watching the tennis. So we will be doing events at the Delray Open, Miami Open, and we were at the US Open 2 years ago. So I don't know if they'll host kids clinics again yet due to COVID, but we look forward to that. And next slide. And this is our contact information. My email is there, my phone number. If you have any families, or if you're for the providers, or if you're a parent who wants to learn more about our program, please contact me again through email or phone, and I'd love to support you so that, a lot of the participants had never played tennis before, and they end up really liking it. So I think it's a great opportunity to try something new. And thank you to FAU CARD for your support.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Oh, and next we have Osmara Maria Fernandez with the Epilepsy Foundation.
Hi, everyone. I'm the new community resource specialist in your area. I do Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, and Martin County. Today, I'm going to be showing at the end of my speech a video in regards to epilepsy and our nonprofit organization. We are a nonprofit organization since 1971. We're coming up to our 50-year anniversary. We were going to do our yearly walk, but due to COVID, we had to postpone it to spring. Now, I don't know if many of you are aware that 3.4 million people in the United States are affected by epilepsy and 65 million worldwide. Now, in Florida itself, there is 474,000 people and 263,000 are children. Now, 1 out of 10 will have a seizure and 1 out of 26 will develop epilepsy. That's a very high count, and many of our communities do not have the awareness or understand the severity of those affected by epilepsy. It does not only affect the person that has epilepsy, it also affects those around them and that are in contact with them because they need all the support they can. Now, we have support groups for the family as well as the person that has epilepsy. I do education on prevention, which means I go out to our local communities and educate the schools, police officers, hospitals, and I train them all for first aid seizure prevention. And it's at no cost to anyone that wants to be trained. We also certify you. At the end of the course, it takes between 45 minutes to an hour. And it's really good to be able to know what to do because we could be in a grocery store and somebody's having a seizure and know what to do and what not to do. We have also a lot of support groups. We have caseworkers that work closely with people with epilepsy to help them with medications, also with finding the right doctors, getting tests done. November's coming up, which is open enrollment. We help not only our clients or those affected by epilepsy, but anyone that needs to get insurance, we help them at no cost. And also we have medication funds for those that do not have insurance. And we also have a summer camp that we have not been able to do because of COVID, but we have a summer camp that's called the Camp Boogie Creek. And we do that once a year for the teens to be able to go out there and, you know, spend a whole week. Now we're going to be doing the video and anyone that you know that is affected by epilepsy, anyone that needs to be educated, I mean, please contact our organization because we're here to help and educate our local communities to be able to help all those affected. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Osmara.
Epilepsy is a serious but often misunderstood neurological disease. Of the 400,000 individuals suffering from epilepsy in Florida, the cause is unknown in half of them.
I just remember like uncontrollably crying in that office and just begging them to try to figure something out.
She's having several seizures inside of her head every single day, day in, day out. What do you do?
While the search for a cure for epilepsy is intense and ongoing, helping people with epilepsy live, thrive, and succeed today is what Epilepsy Florida does. Epilepsy Florida provides the services to help people living with epilepsy and their caregivers.
It really is
a family diagnosis. It's not just a child, it's a family diagnosis. We all suffer it, we all go through it, we all feel it.
We provide comprehensive services for patients and their families, assist you with medical services, help you navigate health insurance, provide funding and access to camps and family activities, connect people to service animals, hold support group meetings for individuals living with epilepsy, as well as the people who love them, provide educational services throughout Florida in English, Spanish, and Creole languages, and so much more.
They've been a part of my life since at least 2000 something, early 2000s. I think we've used every resource at Epilepsy Florida. And when I say every, I mean every.
But beyond the services we provide to people living in Florida, living with epilepsy, Epilepsy Florida is a partner. We are experts who have helped teach, care for, encourage, and empower thousands of people who have gone on to live their lives.
It feels like a family, a whole lot. They're really supportive, they care, they're like really into their job and really care.
We've always taught him that just because he has epilepsy, that doesn't define him. That's not who he is.
Learn more about epilepsy, the many services that Epilepsy Florida offers to help those living with it, and what you can do to support and get involved with us. Visit epilepsyfl.com or call us at 877-553-7453.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mara.
Thank you so much.
And our next presenter is Kristen Martin from the ARC of Palm Beach County.
Hello, thank you for inviting me today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, thanks for being here.
So at the ARC of Palm Beach County, we are changing the conversation around disabilities by defining definitions, inspiring possibilities, and improving the lives of people we serve, their families, and our community. Next slide. We do our mission via a variety of different programs that deliver services to individuals from infancy all the way up to adults. I think our oldest adult that we have right now is in their late 80s. Next slide. So of course, we start with our early intervention services. We have 3 different programs for early intervention. We have First Steps to Success, Healthy Steps for Young Children, and Forward Leaps. This is all for children who are ages 0 to ages of 5. Next slide. We do have a charter school. It's our Potentials Charter School. It is for children who are in pre-K all the way up to grade 8. We do provide intensive therapy. We have speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. And our charter school is actually located in Riviera Beach. Next slide. We have respite services for families. We do in-home and on-site respite care. So we do have qualified staff members who go in and work directly with the families. Or like I said, some Saturdays we do offer in-house respite where people can come and bring their children to drop them off for respite care for the day. The phone number for respite services is directly on this slide. Otherwise, you can contact our main office and that information will be on the final slide. Next slide. So we do offer a recreation program. We offer it for children's, teens, and adults. For our children and our teens, it is during winter break, spring break, and summer, of course. But we do offer for our adults, it is for anybody 18 and older who is no longer in high school. We do fun evenings. We used to have a Halloween dance. Unfortunately, of course, with COVID going on, as everyone is familiar, we've had to limit some of those programs, but we're hoping to be starting them back up soon. Next slide. Recreational day camps, of course, which I just touched on. We do go out in the community. We do field trips. We have drama, music, cooking lessons, all sorts of fun things. And that's during out of school time. So winter break, spring break, and summer. And that is for youth kindergarten all the way through, haven't graduated through high school yet. Sorry, next slide. The community inclusion program, that's the program that I actually run. We work with practitioners in out of school time programs. So that can be any time during the entire year. I go and I train after school providers on how to work with individuals who do have disabilities. And I work directly with the practitioners on how to make sure that the youth enrolled in their program are fully included. Next slide. We do offer residential services. We do have group homes across Palm Beach County. We have a multitude of them, and they have to, individuals who live in the home have to be at least over the age of 18. And we do everything that else that a regular group home would do. Next slide. We have an adult career education services, adult day program, as everybody is familiar. They have to be at least the age of 18 and no longer in high school. We do provide a variety of different programs within our adult career education program. And the next slide is one of the programs that we do provide. It's our artisan program. So our artisans make beautiful mosaics is one of the things that they do. They also do cards, any kind of creative art thing that you're really looking for. We do special designs too. If someone has something specifically in mind that they would like to have designed, we can do that. Our thing that we're doing right now is surfboards. They are mosaicing surfboards. And then of course we sell them, and the profits go, part of the profits go back into purchasing more materials, and part of the profits go to the actual artists who design the products. So if you're looking for a gift for anyone, I know Els for Autism has that as well, but if you're looking for a mosaic piece, please let us know. We also do custom orders. And then on our last slide, of course, if you're looking for any further information, you can contact us at the phone number listed on your screen or visit us on our webpage. We do have a variety of different services. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Kristen. That was great. Appreciate it. I just wanted to go to the chat, and we'll just look at any questions people might have. And then you can contact us directly this way, and someone will contact you directly as well. So you can either do it by calling us or going online to the website, and then you can put requests for services in right on our website. So anybody who is looking for specific information to be able to support, thank you so much again, and appreciate everybody being here, and have a great day.